I'm going to rename it AI reInvent because there's so much happening in the AI space, and that's what I'm here to talk to you about. First of all, who am I? I'm Eric Carter. I am part of the alliances team at Sysdig, and what that means is I'm helping to talk about solutions that typically pair what Sysdig does, which I'll tell you a little bit about in a second, cloud security, with solutions from AWS, Red Hat, Cribble, you name it, right? So that's kind of what I do. And what we want to talk a little bit about today is this world of AI, and I'm just going to leave you with some super simple thoughts, of course, a little bit of knowing what Sysdig does, but at the same time, when you're using AI, some of the security things you need to care about, and how AI can be helping security teams. How many people consider themselves a part of a security team? Yeah. And I would say if you're not a part of the team, you're responsible for security in some way, shape, or form, right? That's typically the case. So this world of AI, look, we heard all the words today. There's so many things to know and learn, and I'm getting to know them, and hopefully you are as well. Different aspects of this, but at the end of the day, we're talking about a very meaningful application that's typically tied to some very, very important and meaningful data, and it's things that we need to care about. And it's good news, bad news, right? It's sort of a new frontier of risk and defense. And what I mean by that is that, and many of you already get this, that the bad guys are using AI almost as much as and potentially more than the good guys. And what does that mean? That means that they're able to use these things to, whether it's just writing snippets of code that'll go after you, or trying to figure out, and by the way, using these models for other things, buying your access keys on the black web and running up your bill. So there's a lot of bad things that can happen. And another part here, the bad news, is that we're often doing things in this world of AI and we run it through a lot of tests, we make sure it's correct. They don't. They just do it very, very fast. So we need to be faster than the adversaries, and that means as defenders, for all of us, we need to be able to understand how can I take advantage of Gen AI to actually make my defense better, faster, stronger, smarter, all of those things. And sometimes as simple as just saying, I need to understand what is this thing, what is this threat, help me understand how to address it. And those are things that are important. We need to defend our AI installations, and then we need to embrace AI as a part of our security defense. So let's talk about the first part. When we started looking at our own customers at Sysdig and trying to see what they were doing with AI workloads, and so again, as a SaaS platform, we can kind of see and understand what's been rolled out in these environments. There was a few things that came up very, very quickly. Now, public exposure. Often, the AI usage that we have is out in public on purpose, but there are others that potentially are exposed publicly that you don't want exposed. And so this is one of those things that you need to at least be understanding and aware of, that a lot of workloads can end up being publicly exposed, and you want to be able to make sure that all of the right security things are in place. Active AI risk. So if somebody is actively trying to get into the AI system that you've put in place, or the front ends, or whatever it is, right? We need to understand that that's happening. So that's another big risk. Shadow AI. One of the problems that we've heard from our customers is that people are starting to implement certain things and we didn't know it. And because we didn't know it, we didn't actually ask them to do the right things in terms of checking for, and we'll go over this in a second, checking for things like vulnerabilities, monitoring the posture and configuration, understanding the kind of threats that might be happening, right? And last but not least, in the US, it's not yet a big, huge thing, but it's starting already to happen in Europe, is regulation. Everyone talks about responsible use of AI, and part of that responsibility is coming in the flavor of recommendations, compliance standards that we need to start to meet as organizations when we are taking advantage of AI solutions, things like Bedrock, Q, leveraging things like SageMaker. So a lot of things to think about, and if we're thinking also about, okay, if I am going about this, just what are some simple things? This is not probably the exhaustive list, but what are some simple things that I want to be able to know that I have in place in order to secure the AI workloads that are being implemented at my organization? Or if you're an AWS partner or a Sysdig partner, that I'm helping my customers implement. One is just visibility. right? And so one of the things that we've done at Sysdig and other organizations are doing is the ability to automatically detect that an AI workload has been implemented. Often this is being done in containers. Anyone running AI things in containers out there? Yeah, I got one guy in the back. Right, so can I understand where it's being implemented? Whether that is libraries talking to things like Bedrock, whether that is any of the things that feed these models and so on, right? We want to know that that's there. So visibility, step one. Step two, are there known vulnerabilities that are in that part of that workload? So hopefully we're all doing things like scanning for the known vulnerabilities that exist, and at least addressing the ones that are going to put us at risk. And this is important. I know most organizations are doing this using tools either from AWS, from companies like Snyk, even from Sysdig, right? Then posture-wise, right? There's nothing worse than I set this up and I forgot to check the box. I forgot to set up this best practice configuration. So what is a recommendation is to be scanning at least every day what is out there, and is there anything that I should be concerned about that's been set up or being used in a way that is going to be too permissive or allow for intrusions that I might, of course, not want. Now, one of the key ones, and why I love this one, is because this is what Sysdig is really, really good at, is detecting active risk. There are all the things that we can do in order to be very proactive and to stop things by having everything set appropriately and so on. Despite all that, clever people out there, many of them using AI, are going to look at, they're constantly trying to get in and do things. So what you want to be able to understand is there abnormal activity surrounding this workload? The good news is some things in AWS we can see through things like CloudTrail logs. If you've got other things running in containers, you want to be able to understand, hopefully in as real time as possible, that this thing just happened, or somebody has just gone into this container, a process is running that was not expected, or there's somebody executing commands or whatnot, right? So being able to know that that's happening is key. It's one of the things that Sysdig does very well. And then last but not least, and there's a lot of solutions out here, including our own, when this bad thing happens, do I know how to respond? How do I respond as quickly as possible? One of the things that at Sysdig we have studied is that it can be within 10 minutes or less, damage can be done. And so how fast can you or your SecOps teams operate in order to stay ahead of the risk? All important things to ask yourself in order to be able to stay secure in this world of AI. Checking my clock. Okay, so that's that picture. Now, anyone using AI or Gen AI as a part of a security solution in your data centers? We've got one back there, right? There are different visions for how this will work. There are some that are simple and some that are thinking about how do I do things even for you. I think most of the world is not yet ready for an AI engine to go make a bunch of tweaks to your environment. However, if I can use it to get insights, that would be key. And again, we need help. Oftentimes, I don't know everything. Maybe the guy next to me, who's now on vacation, knows a lot more than I do, but I want a way to understand a few things, right? Evolving threats. And the broader world out there has insights that we should be able to leverage. And that's what these Gen AI and these large language models and so on are able to help us with. Understanding what it is, how do I respond? The longer it takes for me to respond as I'm out searching for what is the thing that I'm facing, the worse it can be for us, right? So being able to leverage AI to actually get information that I need to do the work that I need to stop the threat is going to be critical. And summarization isn't enough, and this is one of the things that we're out talking about, because oftentimes you say, summarize this threat. That's good, but what I want to do is have a conversation. Is there a user involved? Are there some permission things that I need to know about? I'm getting this message. What does this message mean? They ran this script. What does that mean, right? And the key money moment is, how do I address this threat? And we have seen and implemented a way that you can ask that question and get really good responses back. Here's what you do to stop the right now bleeding. Here's what you do to make your security practice better with your teams over time. And we're doing that without cracking a textbook, without going to a search engine, without asking Bob, who sits next to me, who, remember, he's on vacation. So this is where AI can come in. Few things that we've done at Sysdig, and this is something that's important, is multi-step reasoning. Our definition of this is simply to be able to talk to it. Hey, what's this threat? Tell me about that thing. And by the way, how do I fix this? And by the way, is this a part of a bigger threat? Asking questions in plain language and getting really important answers back so that I can move fast, right? Contextual awareness is simply, if I'm looking at something in my security product, I want to be able to say, tell me about that. And so one of the things that we've done at Sysdig is enabled, basically, we're just injecting the context. I'm looking at this particular issue. I can use things, very general language, and get great answers back. And then, of course, we want those response things, which I've already talked about. Help me understand what to do now. Help me understand how to stop it from happening in the future. So AI can be quite meaningful. And no matter what security or solution you're using, I bet you they're working on an AI agenda. I would love for you guys to come see what we're doing at Sysdig, which is right over there. Our thing is to be able to power cloud security with AI. It's a commonly overused phrase, but at the end of the day, we want to be able to know what's happening, see that threat that's going on, but also get the information down into it. Where is this? What's the region it's happening in? Is there a container? Is there a team engaged in this thing, right? So that I can speed my investigations, I can address things that maybe we've never seen before, but the world has seen it, and to be able to help manage. Again, I'm not the most skilled person in the room. You can say that again. But the thing is that with an AI engine sitting next to me, it can accelerate my response. It can make me have more information at my fingertips so that I start to feel more and more confident in what I am seeing. What I'm seeing across my AWS cloud, my Kubernetes, EKS, Fargate, you name it, right? So there's a lot of things we can do that we can lean into an AI solution, not to take my job, just to make me better at my job. And that's the clean, clear message. And I just want to give you that simple message that there are two things to think about here. One is, how do I secure my AI? We do that quite well at Sysdig. We can auto-detect where you're leveraging things like Cube, Bedrock, SageMaker, and other AI engines. And to be able to use something like our implementation, Sysdig Sage, to ask meaningful questions, simple questions about what you're seeing, and get the kind of guidance that we all hope to get from something like AI, not doing my job for me, but making me better at doing my job. And that's my super simple message. I told you it wouldn't take too long. You can visit us. Again, we're right over there. If you find Sentinel-1, we're right next to that. If there are any questions, feel free to ask them and raise your hand. Chris is somewhere with a microphone. Otherwise, come see me in the booth later on. I'd love to show you just a little bit of the things that I talked about today, at least how Sysdig does it. And that's all I have for you today.